Well, hello, and welcome to this edition of the Dean's Video Newsletter. Today I want to speak specifically about the revision or the update of our strategic plan. As many of you will know and participated in 2010, 2011, we spent the year developing a strategic plan for the school. That plan we've been following fairly closely. It was a 10-year plan. But we had indicated very clearly at the beginning that what we would do is at very specific milestones, we would have a look to see how we were performing within the strategic plan itself. And if we needed to, make modifications to ensure that it was a living document that really reflected what we wanted to achieve as a school. And so that really transpired at the 5-year mark and is now just being completed and will come online for you to have a look at. This has been a very important process. First off, an incredible number of you were involved in helping us do this, and I really do want to express my sincere thanks. The second piece in all of this is people often talk about a strategic plan and say, why would you bother doing that? It's a lot of work, as I've just said, and oftentimes they sit on a shelf. In fact, these are not meant to sit on the shelf. They are really guiding documents for us as a school. And in a time like right now, they are never more important than they are. And I say that because we're going into a phase of a lot of fiscal constraints when we think about how the university sector is moving forward, and most specifically, how we as a school within that sector are also going to have to move forward. The time of a lot of growth is behind us now, and now we're into a period of stability and ensuring that that growth is well utilized to advance us as a school. If you have a well thought out strategic plan, that actually sets your milestones and becomes the checkstone at which you go back and look and make sure that every decision is well made and that it serves the future of the school. So although it was an interval reassessment and some modifications to it, it really was in the concept that this is a living document and it needs to work with us and we need to work with it closely as we move forward in the school. So when you look at the plan, you're not going to see major differences at first face value, but you are going to want to look more closely at it. You'll see that there's a new one that's been added that talks about the fiscal responsibilities of the school. Right? Many people would say, well, why do you put that in a strategic planning doc? Is that simply not the principles by which you operate? Well, in fact, they are. We as a school work in a very, very responsive fiscal milieu where we have to be careful. But to state that it's actually one of our strategic plans is that the school will be transparent, will be fiscally responsive, will work within its boundaries of finance is a very important statement for us to have out there. The second is that we've taken the first strategic priority, which was on research, and simply modified it to make it very clear that research is part and part of our fabric. It's what we do as a school. And a lot of people will say to me, but aren't we educators as well? And don't we train physicians and graduate students and undergraduates? And the answer is absolutely we do. And we do all of that to a very high level and a very high standard. That standard means that we're constantly trying to understand how to do it better. And we publish those results. We look at ways of designing new curriculum and pedagogical basis on which we're delivering things to our students. That's research. So that's the fabric. Right? So you'll see those two pieces in there. The second piece that you're going to see, which is new, is that very clearly we have set out what we think are the metrics by which we should be judged. And those metrics are crisp. So for each one of those strategic priorities, of which there are now 7, you will see that there are a number of goals that are defined. And within each of those goals, you'll also see how we will measure our success or lack thereof in attaining those goals. Those are aligned not only with what we want to be doing in the school, but we are part of a much larger ecosystem, right? We're part of the university. So we align our goals to the university strategic plan to make sure that we in fact have those working together in synergy to that. The ecosystem doesn't stop there. We're part of a much larger healthcare system as well. We have to work closely and do, not only with our hospital partners here in the city, but across our entire region. Right? We are an educational system that uses all of southwestern Ontario. So the goals of our region need to be reflected to some degree in our strategic plan. The final piece is that you'll start to see, for those of you who are involved in a lot of our committees, and particularly at the leadership side, we'll be looking every time we sit down at a meeting and ask the question, how are we actually addressing the strategic objectives? Not all of them, doesn't have to be for each one, but there has to be at least 1 or 2 that are being dinged off every time we're talking about an initiative of the school. If it's not in the context of what we want to achieve, then we need to ask the question as to why we're doing it. And if we can't answer that with an affirmative and really an enthusiastic, this is why we're doing it, we have a problem. So that's why the document has been so important. That's why this process that all of you have been involved in and helped with has been so crucial to the school, and why we've taken a little bit of time to make sure we have it absolutely correct to the best that we can, and that our partners have helped us on that front as well. So I really, really do encourage you to have a look at the strategic document on our website. It does speak to the values of the school. Have a good look at it. It is a very solid document. I think we're all very proud of it. I certainly am. And we can work with this over the next several years as we move the school forward. So thank you very much. I look forward to chatting with you again in the near future, and have a good day.